We like to begin with every episode with a shout out to our top tier patrons because they donate the most to us, and we're so surprised that they ended up doing that. There's a couple we'd like to thank. Number one on the list is Spencer Feuerstein. Long-time donator, no-time caller, unless he actually did use the voicemail. And
no one has. We got one, and no one has touched that fucking thing since. Which I don't blame you. It was a. It's a
little bit of an awkward thing, but god damn it exists. And the next one is Tyler Hyatt.
You want to take that again without sounding so awkward?
Is that correct though?
So the awkwardness was well reasoned. Like there was a reason for. Yeah, it is Tyler.
I'm not looking at any list or anything. I'm doing that off memory.
You got it.
The next one is Tyler Hyatt, the other full tier patron. God damn it.
You know somewhere in there that all of this is staying in anyway. So
of course it will,
here we go.
Oh, you guys are the best. Thank you so much for donating to our Patreon and keeping this podcast going. We had a lot of good results with this month in the Patreon page, and we're gonna do our best to do right by all of you and get this podcast out into the world as best we can. Up the production value and get more surprises.
Anyway, don't tell anybody, but we're recording this at the end. This is a note for John in the editing room. Put this at the beginning. Don't say anything. Just put this at the beginning.
You want to give us a last time?
Oh, yeah. Do we not have a weird little talk in the beginning of this one?
Sorry. Yeah, that's right. I do actually. So I want to start this episode off by apologizing to a lot of our people on Twitter. We have some followers. It's not 0, which is astounding to me.
Somehow.
It's been popping off lately. Have you noticed? Because you actually do interact with some of the tweets that we go live with.
I spend a grand total of maybe 5 minutes on Twitter every week. So no, not really.
It's gotten some attention, and not like attention like we're going to be the next big thing on Twitter, just like enough to make it worthwhile to actually post every day.
Okay.
Which is not something we've gotten during the entire run of this podcast, which is awesome. Thank you for checking out our social media feed.
Yeah.
Twitter handle at Eric Hates DBZ. But we gotten like a lot of replies and likes. I got a new phone a couple weeks ago, and I've been loving the shit out of it. It's an amazing phone. I love playing these games on it. I'm spending, like $5 a week on micro transactions for various different apps and feeling bad about myself.
They're getting you.
They are a little bit, but it's diversified through like 10 different apps. So I don't feel as bad, but I did spend like $5. Usually when it's less than 5, when it's like 99 cents or $2.50 or whatever, I'll be like, yeah, that's nothing. So I'll just spend it a couple times during the week. Last week, I spent like $5 total on Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. And I felt so bad for the rest of the day. I was like, why did I spend $5? I know it's free. I know I've been playing every single day. And I know that like I probably, had I spent $5 to install it and like get access to the game, I wouldn't have looked at it again. Like I thought twice about it. But pressing the button and spending $5 on fictional currency to enhance fictional characters, whatever, it was awful. So at least I know that I have my limits as a microtransactional person.
Yeah.
But they are getting me more than they ever have because I have a platform that is capable of playing all those games. So
I see.
It's, your first hit's
the opposite thing that I did.
Right. Yeah. I improved my phone instead of downgraded.
Yeah. Next, I'm going to go for a rotary phone.
I have to apologize to our Twitter users because while I installed Twitter on this new phone of mine, I forgot to tie in the Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z account. So I've been doing it mostly from my desktop. At random times during the day, I'll just drag and drop a picture and type a little thing and send it. But I haven't been getting alerts. So like when people like it, when people reply to it, when people retweet it, I haven't been getting alerts. So I set it up today, the recording day, and then I went back through like a week and a half of shit and replied to it. I'm going to be more on top of it now because I'm actually actively getting alerts. But for a while there, I wasn't. If you tried to interact with us and was like, these guys suck because they don't even read my shit. No, I read it. It was just later. Because my phone didn't go off because I didn't have the account on there, and now I do.
Dude, we fucking suck at this interaction thing. Our Gmail devoured a bunch of emails.
It did. It ate a bunch of stuff. Well, and still, like, we did a couple professional business things with the Gmail account, and it still got sent to my spam folder. So I've been keeping an eye on that as much as I can, and I'm getting used to the social media thing. But yeah, like we're super old. I feel like
we're pretty goddamn old. I thought that literally walking to my car from work the other day, because in my brain it went, hey, skip a little bit. And I went, fuck that. And so I went, oh God, this is it. It's all downhill. It's we're old now.
It's not great. So, but we're getting used to it. All right, now you can do it last time.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
I'm gathering energy.
Energy?
Because even after drinking all of this caffeine, it's just not coming.
I'm worried that you overdid it and that it's circling back around, so you're tired again.
That might be what's happening. I'm going to rely on you to carry this episode for me because I'm just tired as shit today, I guess.
Oh, I got so much to say.
Is that true? That sounded sarcastic as fuck.
Not really. These episodes were fine, but they were a little fillery for my taste.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll get to it. Last time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z, we got the other 5 episodes of the Videl and Gohan budding relationship thing. Goten learned to fly. Gohan has a new getup, and there's a tournament that's happening. And then we're gonna talk about the tournament. Goku's back. Videl can fly. Now we're here. This time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z.
At the end, you just got a little bit sexy.
This time, I think I did that once, didn't I?
You probably did.
I probably did.
Anyway, welcome to Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. I'm Spencer.
That's staying in. I'm John.
And today we're going to be going over episodes 210 to 214 of Dragon Ball Z, starting with episode 210. The Japanese title is No Small Matter, Little Trunks. The American title is The World Tournament.
My episode title for this one is the one where Dragon Ball Z becomes South Park for about 2 minutes.
I'm actually curious where that comes in. We start this episode with the broken punch machine. It literally, it threw me off because, it's been 2 weeks since we watched DBZ. Uh-huh. It starts exactly where the last episode left off, which is the broken punch machine. Vegeta stomping off, happy, smug about himself. And this just cratered piece of technology.
Well, it starts off with a couple establishing shots, but it has Vegeta's music. So I immediately knew we were going into some Vegeta shit.
Videl reacts to Vegeta punching the punch machine to smithereens.
Mm-hmm.
Gohan isn't surprised at all, and Videl notices that. She's like, hey, this is weird, right? And Gohan's like, oh, yeah, it's so weird. Yeah, it's really weird. I didn't expect this at all. They're bringing in a new punch machine because the other contenders for the World Tournament haven't gotten to qualify yet.
Yeah.
So they're going to be stuck there, but everybody that we've seen punch the punch machine is free to go. So Gohan and Videl, spoilers, are going to be standing in line this entire episode.
Yeah, pretty much.
Goku and Vegeta go to watch their kids fight because the junior tournament is up. The junior qualifier, whatever. Goten and Trunks are both in it with a lot of little pipsqueaks that are going to fall very quickly.
Yeah, if you enjoy the child violence aspect of Dragon Ball Z, this is your episode.
This has got everything.
Mm-hmm.
Kid on kid fighting.
Constantly.
What's not to love?
Actually, nothing. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. I will say it's pretty good. So Goku meets Videl for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And
this is nice.
Krillin and Goku kind of team up in these episodes and tease Gohan about having a girlfriend. Your uncle, your parents, they would.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was kind of fun.
It's very in character. It's super in character for Krillin, especially throughout the remainder of these episodes. Krillin which just really hammers in the, nice spending time with your girlfriend. And I enjoyed it. I really actually enjoyed it.
Krillin really shines in these episodes, not just to be like the uncle that sort of prods you. You got a girlfriend, but he makes fun of Hercule. Like all of his reactions to everything that goes on in these episodes, totally on point. I love it.
Yeah, he's a really good secondary character. Piccolo doesn't say shit these episodes. Vegeta
doesn't say shit. He sits against the back wall the whole time. Goku's fine. Like he's, he offers Goku commentary, whatever. Gohan and Videl still establishing the relationship.
They're still main characters. They do a really good job these episodes, and it's something that they don't do before. They have a ton of characters, and every single one needs a special little character moment. They pace it so incredibly well now that is no longer a problem. So Krillin is one of the characters they focus on a hell of a lot, just as much as Goku, just as much as
this whole arc is like a callback to Dragon Ball. Right? Like the original, like Piccolo, Goku, and Krillin get a lot of time to shine. And a lot of it is because they were in the original, World Tournament stuff from Dragon Ball. While the Cell games was like a really good ending to the show didn't stop there, right? So they're like creating this second ending where they're tying pieces together and they're having callbacks and they're like They're just bridging the gap.
It's a restart.
These two shows. It is kind of a restart.
It's Dragon Ball 3. There was Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and this is Dragon Ball 3. This is something else. It really, really does not feel like the same show whatsoever. And we've said that a million times. So hopefully that emphasizes the point enough. So Goku meets Videl. They make fun of Gohan a little bit and they leave. Videl learns that Goku is Gohan's father and says, wait, no. I thought your dad was with another woman. And Gohan says, oh, no, he's just dead. And then they cut away. They just cut away immediately, which is fantastic.
It's so good.
Videl being the connection to all the rest of these normal humans, which are everywhere in the stands. There's tons of people in the crowd just walking around, going to the different vendors and stuff. Having Videl be the connection to what is normal for the rest of the world. It's very well done.
She's the audience surrogate, and she does a really good job.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wouldn't even say the audience surrogate because the audience knows.
Well, but like the world, you're
She's
right.
the world surrogate, I guess.
Like
what
the average human being.
Yeah, I don't know what that would be called.
But like a newcomer, like I don't know. I guess I was thinking of Eric specifically, like an Eric surrogate.
Yeah,
where somebody steps in and like, no, this isn't right. This isn't real life.
That's amazing. If Eric was open to everything going on.
Yeah, if he wasn't actively just loathing everything happening.
Right.
So the junior division tournament is up first. They're going to do the parade of kids before the real tournament starts.
Yeah, they're going to have the kindergarten kickoffs, except the kickoffs is in the other kindergartner's face. What?
Did you hear the prize money announcement? I thought I heard that the runner-up gets like 5 million zenny in the junior division, and then the winner gets like 10 million or something like that. It was an absurd amount of money.
It's a ton of money. How much is a zenny worth? Let's have an economical conversation. I have no idea. All
I know is in Dragon Ball Legends, I have like 2 billion zenny.
Yeah.
So probably worthless is my guess.
Yeah. Imagine it's like yen, right? If it's gotta
be. Yeah, I think so. Because later on in the show, they equate, X million zenny to a certain amount.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so they're competing
to make sense.
They're competing for, assume it's $50,000, which is a fair fuck amount of money.
Sure.
So it's not.
I could see that.
Yeah, it's not bad. But before the kids start beating each other up, we get the South Park part of this episode. So there's an announcement. Mr. Satan's going to come into the ring and let's set the stage a little bit. A decent sized tournament ring. The stands are lined with people. The crowd is full.
Throughout this whole episode, we have characters going to like get food, walking around, like watching the festivities, things like that. Did you ever like do something like this with your family? I kept getting callbacks in my head as I was watching these episodes of like when my dad would take me to the Utah Raceway.
Yes.
Like the drag races and stuff where they had like beer tents and, cotton candy and things like that. And there was people in the stands walking all over. Like this episode nails the atmosphere of being at like an event with your family
event,
such as this. Yeah,
for sure. Mine was the Texas State Fair where they have the giant guy, Big Tex, I think he's called. And it's like everybody's afraid that giant animatronic has been there since the 1960s or whatever. And they like hardly do any maintenance on it. So everybody is kind of afraid walking near Big Tex that at any moment, this giant animatronic cowboy is going to break apart and kill many people. But maybe that's part of the fun is you just never know when Big Tex is going to break down.
I think it is. But there was that serious, like they've nailed this, from a world away in Japan. Yeah. They've nailed the atmosphere of this, of going to a state event with your family.
Yeah.
It was palpable, that feeling. I could feel the heat. I could feel,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it was really cool.
You're right. It's interesting because we all know Japan doesn't have fun. They just don't there. They can't. It's against
they work
doctrine.
Too much.
Yeah. So they don't know what this is like for real. So good job, Toriyama, just guessing. So they're in this, the people in the stands are Z Fighter Gang, which is, help me out here, Goku, Piccolo, Krillin, 18, Vegeta. 5 of them, right? That's the gang at this point.
Mostly, yeah. Gohan and Videl sort of are doing their own thing, but they're intermixed.
Yeah, because they're stuck in line right now. So that's the gang.
Yes.
Those 5. And they are taking not a seat. Where are they? Help me out with
like
this
up
one.
above. They're like in the sort of like walk along
like a catwalk,
the high top to find your seat.
Yeah.
Like in a hockey stadium or like I guess any other stadium where you kind of come in and you've got that big border around and you have to find your place, walk down the stairs and then get to your seat.
Yeah.
They're up there.
Yes. It's a weird spot for them to be in. They haven't taken a seat anywhere.
It's not actually an assigned seat. They're probably doing something illegal, but they're just like watching down below.
They probably are. This is probably against the rules. There's Bulma and Chi-Chi, the Ox King, Oolong, Yamcha down in the stands close to the
Roshi,
ring.
Yeah.
And Roshi.
And they're actually in the seats. Yeah.
Yes. And
there's a lot with those guys.
Yeah.
A weird amount. Yeah.
So that's what's happening. Mr. Satan comes into the ring. Yeah, all these kids are about to beat the shit out of each other. And they're fucking awesome.
Something we should mention that I don't know if we had. The winner of the junior championship gets to fight Hercule.
That's right.
Because he's the winner of the previous tournament.
They get to have an exhibition match against the champion. That's whoa. Yep. So then a giant dirigible appears with a huge screen on it. And the announcer, who is for sure Eric Vale, like 100% confirmed at this point.
Dude, I love Trunks. He commits to this character in a way that like this World Tournament announcer gets so much character development in these few episodes. I was shocked.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because it's a side character, not like the son of Vegeta, you know, but he gets a lot of time to shine and they do a good job.
They do.
Just referencing like the Japanese subtitles versus what the American dub actually says. They did a good job giving him enough character. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
He's a good character.
We should talk a little bit about Japanese subtitles versus the English overdub, because I don't know what it's like with the other rest of the episodes, and I regret not watching it like this all the way. But
yeah, for sure.
Very interesting to see the Japanese.
It's crazy that two separate, they're the same scene, but they're two separate scenes because one's Japanese, one's American.
Yeah.
And they can lead to the same conclusion.
Yeah.
Despite the dialogue being so different.
Yes.
There's a lot of that in this episode. And I didn't note a lot of it because it eventually led to the same place. So it's fine. But they do focus on a lot of different things. And I got a couple examples, which I'll bring up, but I don't think I have any this episode.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's this weird circular pattern where they start off at the same place and then one goes left and around and then the other one goes right and around, but they end up at the same spot at the end of it.
That's exactly exactly.
And so it makes this show this constant like helix type of thing between the dialogue options.
Yeah, where it's two different shows, but it's the same show.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
It's really interesting. It makes me wonder why they take certain decisions in English. And sometimes I agree with them. Other times I don't. I have one example of that eventually.
And I've got one example of one that I was on board with the American versus the Japanese.
I'm on board for the majority of the time with the English one, which is why I'm taking the show narratively. That's the one that I'm following.
Yeah, same.
I think it's because in English, they do a more pronounced job of characterization through the dialogue. That might be because I'm not listening to the emotional emphasis coming from the Japanese dialogue, but also I'm American and I'm super biased.
Yeah, I don't want to sound weird about it, but like I don't know that I would get the same emotional resonance that a Japanese person watching this would get.
I don't know. I don't know.
Just hearing clips of Goku and stuff from the original Japanese, I don't know that I can interpret it the way that it's meant to be interpreted.
Well,
as American.
I've already said my piece about how I feel Masako Nozawa's voice is as a Goku, the old grandma was. I can't.
Super cool that she's done the character for so long.
Agreed.
I can't get behind
it. The credit is there. Personal preference stands. So anyway, the dirigible appears, which is a gigantic blimp with a huge screen on it. The announcer says, "We will now play for the first time. We will premiere a reenactment of the end of the Cell games. As you all know, the cameras were all broken, so no one got to see this, but we will now present this reenactment." And Mr. Satan is in the ring freaking out. What? I didn't approve this shit. What the fuck are you talking about? He does not want to be a part of this at all. He wants nothing to do with what is happening. He didn't sign off on it.
World Tournament announcer, who still doesn't have a name, by the way, is like,
"You're right, yeah.
You guys want to see this video? Let's start chanting. Come on, crowd!" And so the whole audience starts going, "Mr. Satan, Mr. Satan." And then suddenly, as soon as that happens, Hercule's like, "Yeah, let's do it. Okay," like he's totally into it all of a sudden. And so they play this movie.
This is the best thing.
The movie is a work of art.
It truly is.
Whenever they do a TV show within a TV show, I think we've talked about this before, even in Dragon Ball Z, the voice actors especially can take the parody up a notch because it's like one step removed even further from reality, right? But this is just the cherry on top because it recognizes that it's part of the DBZ universe and it adds a layer of parody that I just wasn't expecting at all. And it's so ridiculous, but it's so seriously, and
it aligns with the universe.
Yeah, it's so passionately received by the people within the universe.
That it is.
I don't know. It's
brilliant.
maybe it's the greatest. It's just so good.
It's a brilliant moment.
The movie starts. The blimp lights up. The screen of the blimp lights up. And it starts. Did you notice this? It starts with
waves and rocks.
Waves and rocks. This fun little jingle. Waves and rocks. This show is brought to you by Waves and Rocks. The Waves and Rocks thing is literally just a beach with some rocks on it. And like this logo pops up out of nowhere. It is an exact replica of every single production credit that happens at the start of every single Dragon Ball Z movie. So you wouldn't actually know that this is a reference unless you saw the Dragon Ball Z movies. But there's a production company logo that comes up at the start of every single. We've made reference to it.
We've made the jokes about the waves and rocks before. Like this is brought to
check
you by
out our
Waves and
Patreon
Rocks.
page. Yeah. So it does that, which watching Dragon Ball Z the show, you wouldn't ever get that was a thing. But like the dedication to the authenticity of this being a Dragon Ball Z parody thing, it's just phenomenal.
It's brilliant.
And then
good.
They go into the movie. They use the ZTV logo instead of whatever the actual real world production credit is in the Waves and Rocks thing. And then it goes into the Cell Games finale, basically. The Cell Games arena, everybody's fighting. And
well, let's describe everybody.
Yeah, so it's the Z Warriors, and Cell and Hercule. And everybody, I want to say the word chibi, but that's not quite right.
They're more like Lego versions of themselves.
Yeah, so everybody is a human, but everybody has like a Lego head mask on over their face, like a costume Disneyland mascot sort of thing.
Yeah.
To make them look like Goku, Vegeta, Cell, Gohan,
everybody.
Even Hercule.
And it's
like even the humans.
Yes.
Have a mask on to make them look like exaggerated versions of their human counterparts.
It's accurate. They're accurate images. Sort of.
Their one pose, because obviously the mouths can't move or anything, is accurate to each character, but it's fucking ridiculous and it's amazing.
It continues with Cell saying, "Ah ha ha! I will defeat the world," and every character is voice acted by that actual voice actor doing a parody caricature of that character.
That was my favorite part. Is like again one more step removed from reality. Every voice actor had a fucking field day. You can tell voicing parody versions of themselves in this movie. It's so good.
Actually is in the universe. It's so spectacularly well done. So Cell's voice actor is doing a parody of what Cell sounds like, and that's what all the humans are hearing. And we cut to some reaction shots of the actual gang watching this, and Piccolo sees his own whatever Lego version of himself and is just losing it.
I love that Goku was like, well, it's not accurate, but it sure is entertaining.
Yeah, Goku's
like he's got this good-natured attitude about it. In the fictional video of this, you get to see Cell on the arena say like, I'm going to blast you with fireballs as our Hercule hero steps up. And he back steps onto a button in the arena. And I was like, why are you showing the special effect in the movie on the screen? And then I got it. They're not showing like how the movie did the special effects. They're showing how the real world tournament was all tricks and smokes and mirrors, all the stuff that Hercule was saying. So they took that as gospel and created this movie where that was inside of the fiction. It's like, it's so many layers deep, and it's nobody says, those are the tricks and the mirrors. Like you have to connect the dots. It's brilliant. It's so good.
Yeah. In the end of the fighting, Cell is the last one standing. Hercule goes to fight Cell and tries the tricks. Hercule says, "None of your tricks will work on me." And then Cell gets on hands and knees and says, "Oh, please forgive me, Mr. Hercule. No, you're a villain. I'ma kill you." That's the whole thing. It's over.
Movie over. Movie's great. Movie's best part of this episode. But we do transition back to Goten and Trunks, who are waiting for the junior tournament to start. And we get to meet the opponents they will be fighting, at least one of them, in this like Mullet Man Junior redneck
bully kid.
His name's like Odessa or something like that.
Which is a place in Texas. It's a name of a town in Texas.
Yeah, totally. You get to see this Odessa guy step up to Trunks and Goten and be like, "Oh, I'm a bully. I'm gonna punch you. I'm gonna get you." And Trunks does a move because he's fucking Vegeta's kid. And Vegeta's punched him in the face like a million times.
Yeah.
So he doesn't care. So it's 35 kids. They don't have to do qualifiers or anything. It's just like any kid who wants to participate, they're gonna duke it out. So there's 35 of them, which I don't really understand how that works because it's not an even number, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't. One of them just gets moved up to the whatever. Eric would know. We can ask Eric later.
Yeah, we can ask Eric. And the winner gets to fight Hercule, remember. So the rules for being knocked out of the tournament are if the opponent gives up, if the opponent is wrung out, if the opponent is down for 10, or if they go unconscious.
No rules against crying. You can cry all you fucking want.
God, this tournament, man.
And it happens.
It's insane.
It is.
So we get shots of Idessa's mom.
Oh, God.
This big fat lady wearing a pink dress and a big hat and big glasses pushes her way into a seat next to Oolong. So it's her, Oolong, Bulma, Chi-Chi, Roshi, whatever. And she is maybe the most annoying character that's ever graced this anime.
Yes. And it is for a good reason because...
Oh, it's on purpose for sure.
Wow. She is...
Yeah. I've never gone from going 0 to I hate you forever.
Yes.
So quickly as the introduction of this character.
So well done. She sits in the seat, pushes past everyone, really she shoves everybody out of the way, and her bigness knocks down whatever Oolong was eating. What's the first one? Because it happens a couple times. So what's the first one?
I know. I think it's ice cream, but ice cream might be the second one.
Ice cream is the second one.
Maybe it's a hot dog or something.
I think it's a hot dog and the mustard gets in his face.
Yeah,
he's not happy about that. So I just want to remark that this episode, maybe more than the previous ones, shows Trunks is Vegeta's child. For sure is Vegeta's child.
This whole little mini arc of the junior tournament is like Trunks is a very different person now than he would have grown up to have been in the Android saga.
Yes.
He is like almost mean, but that's not the right word. It's
arrogant.
Yes. Yeah. Totally.
He's a little Vegeta. It's really, really cool.
So you get to see a couple rounds of this kid tournament, and it's exactly what
you think it is.
There are kids fighting each other. They're crying. They're pushing each other off the ring. The World Tournament announcer is doing his best to make it fun for everybody.
There's a moment where Mr. Satan goes and picks up a kid that was crying after a ring out and puts him on his shoulders like, "Don't cry. You did a really good job out there." And the kid gets all happy. Yay. And then you get a character moment for Mr. Satan where he doesn't seem like a giant piece of shit.
I liked that a lot.
I did too.
I was a little disappointed that they immediately turned it around and like Krillin shits on him like, oh, that dude knows how to grab the press. And Hercule was like, tip number 1, you just got to know how to grab the audience. Like I really did feel like there was something to that moment where he consoled the kid that lost and like gave him that little just window into heroism that you remember for the rest of his life. Maybe we're putting Hercule on a pedestal, but I feel like that as scummy as the show makes him seem, he does have little glimpses into heroism.
He's got a heart of silver.
Thank you.
That's Mr.
That's
Satan.
Fucking great. I love that. Perfectly describes Hercule. Anyway, Trunks goes up to fight in his round.
Douche child.
He gets to fight Mullet Jr. guy. He's 8 years old, Trunks is, and he's fighting a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
And from the sidelines, Krillin's like, do your best, Trunks. And then he thinks about it for a second. And he's like, oh no, he could kill that kid. Do okay, Trunks.
Yeah, that was great. Great line. Because it's true. Trunks would fucking murder this child if Trunks tried.
Yeah, exactly. There's some continuity here with the cameras still being reported as broken.
Yes. Yeah. Did you notice the head camera guy sounds like Cobra Commander from G.I. Joe? I don't know why, but the head camera guy is like, oh no, all of our cameras are destroyed.
Dude, I make this note later, but every single side character in the American dub is like exaggerated. There's French accents, there's Canadian accents, there's German accents. Like they were having so much fun voicing the one-liner nothing characters that it adds so much to the show that it feels like a party.
It does.
Like
That's a great way.
Fun.
This does feel like a party. It really does. It's like a Dragon Ball Z production party. They're just having a great time and everybody's enjoying it. Everybody's a little bit tipsy, but not too fucked up that you're throwing up on the couch yet.
Exactly. Bulma starts a rivalry. Actually, both Chi-Chi and Bulma start a rivalry with this kid's big old mom with the glasses and everything.
Yeah.
They don't like each other, which is perfect because Trunks goes up against the oldest son of this woman, the 15-year-old, and just knocks him unconscious with nothing. Like it's just one punch and Trunks doesn't even look back as the kid hits the floor. He just walks off stage.
Yeah. Trunks treats this
and that's
like
it.
something he has to do. It's like a chore. Like he goes into the ring and he's like, all right, let's get this over with. And then the bell starts and that kid, tries to hit Trunks. And Trunks is that really? There's no way you're serious. And the kid's like, I wasn't serious. Here's me really trying, which is what a kid would fucking say. Trunks blocks him and knocks the kid the fuck out. Just dunks him out. Child is out. And the mom reacts appropriately. Oh my God, I can't fucking believe it. And Bulma rubs it in her face just a little bit, which that was nice and satisfying.
Yeah, it's good. And then Krillin's like, oh, I guess it's not going to be any fun until Trunks and Goten fight because he totally knows the outcome of this whole thing. And that's basically the end of the episode. So we come to episode 211. Episode 211. The Japanese title is It's My Turn. Goten's Anxious First Fight. The American title is Trunks versus Goten.
I like the Japanese title for this one.
The Japanese title for this one is really good.
It's dead on. My title is the one where a couple of kids pound the heck out of each other.
So we open with like a nonsense fight with a couple of kids crying and like knocking each other out of the ring.
Apparently
and stuff.
Crying is when you're a child, that is what gives you a power boost because every kid that cries wins.
It's absolutely true. Eventually we go to Goten's first fight up against a 14-year-old, which surprise, surprise is the brother of the person that Trunks just fought last episode. And seeing Goten go up to the stage for the first time is amazing.
It is.
Every time that this show establishes Goten's character, I've fallen in love with Goten all over again. He is the most adorable child that has ever graced this anime. And he's just great. Like, he's really good.
In contrast to who Gohan was in the beginning, Goten is a 10 out of 10. Wow, I didn't even mean that. But no, he is really comparatively.
No, I like it.
Comparatively, just alone comparatively, Goten is leagues beyond the introduction of what Gohan was. With the whole Piccolo training and the crying Goten is fantastic. I think this is the show's way of saying, okay, we're past all that. We're better now, and we're going to display it better. Here's how.
And you can tell as he walks on to the stage that he's just nervous.
He's so nervous.
He doesn't like being in front of the crowd. He doesn't necessarily like want to fight in front of the crowd. Like, he doesn't let the power that he has go to his head. And I really liked that.
Well, a lot of it is he doesn't know. He's only grown up with Chi-Chi in the middle of nowhere. I don't think Goten has ever interacted with normal quotey fingers.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely accurate, especially considering what comes next.
Yeah. The announcer realizes that Goten looks like Goku. The announcer has like
yeah, the world tournament announcer realizes, like, looks back upon his life and like remembers seeing Goku in the world tournament as a kid and like knows that it's, son Goten is the child of Gohan of Goku. And there's even this cool little flashback where you get to see kid Goku win the world tournament from way back when. And then at the very end, when Goku wins and he sort of like falls back onto the ring floor in exhaustion and jubilation, it's juxtaposed with Goten sitting there as a nervous boy. And you really get to see them side by side for a second as the image of Goku sort of fades into
Goten's face. It's a direct fade.
I feel like I didn't explain it very well, but it's a really cool shot.
It is.
That shows his relationship to his dad and like the resemblance, and I don't know. It was just really cool. Like, they didn't have to go so artsy with it, but they did, and it worked.
It's a perfect show don't tell. I love that this show has improved. It has only no. I was gonna say it has only improved, but then it like improves and then dips, and we know
there's dips. There's for sure dips.
Yeah. So,
but this was not a dip. It was good. I liked it.
Yes, fantastic. And there's a cut to Trunks in the waiting room who is sulking like Vegeta. Such a Vegeta sulk in the corner.
It really is.
And there's a kid who comes up like, hey, isn't that your friend? Don't you want to watch your friend's match? Trunks is like, I already know the result. Why bother? He just goes back to sulking.
Yep. And it goes to Goten as the fight starts, and the fucking hillbilly brother tries to punch him, and Goten literally blocks it with one
singular finger block. And also Goten respectfully bows before the fight.
He does that a couple times in these episodes, and I loved it every time.
Yes. Yeah.
No other character is shown doing that in these episodes, and I really appreciated that extra little detail.
Yeah. Especially because he's such an adorable little child doing it, and
he really is
fully developed. fully developed as a character already. And we've seen,
Yep.
okay, cumulatively, how much screen time do you think this character has?
Oh,
gotten?
very, very little. And even when he does, he's like in the background or he says like one line or something.
So I would say under an hour cumulative screen time at this point.
Yeah.
Already amazing. Fantastic.
His character is very well established. You can't even say like he's just a little Vegeta. He's just a little Goku. Like he is his own character that we really haven't seen in Dragon Ball Z up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
Very reserved, very quiet, very sweet, and just a good character.
Yeah. So as you can guess, Goten one punches the kid out.
I love that he's like, wait, this is it?
Mm-hmm.
This isn't very fun.
Mm-hmm.
And he just punches the guy and it fights over. He won. And Chi-Chi knocks out the annoying mom in one punch too. And she says the best line, which is like, come on, who do you think taught him?
Mm-hmm.
And Gohan and Videl are still in line to register for the tournament. They're still waiting for the punch machine. They hear about Goten's victory from afar. I really like that they keep cutting back to Gohan wanting to be there for his brother. Whatever the narrative reason, there really isn't one that he can't be there. It seems like he really wants to, and it seems like he really admires his brother's like commitment to the tournament, and he wants to be there for him, but even though he can't for a stupid reason. It's good. It's appreciated.
Yeah, all the cuts to the different characters feel like they have reasons to exist. They're validated in their existence.
Yeah.
Then after that, we have, I think, probably the best little montage the DBZ ever does.
We get a little montage. Yeah. Well, we get two little montages. Yeah. First one is with Goten. As he wins, you get to see him win a fight with the little flick.
Which is
you get
cute.
to show is another little
the
bow.
Goten fight montage, which is really good. It's the image of Goten going up the board. You can see the little line that draws itself, him going up the tournament ranks at the same time as you see him actually, which is transposed over the fights that are happening.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, and did you hear the music? It's like a dollar store Eye of the Tiger, but Dragon Ball Z flavored.
Yes,
it's really funny. Then we have the same sequence for Trunks.
Obviously, Trunks and Goten win. They're going to fight each other at the end of the Junior Championship, which is awesome. Trunks and Goten step up to the arena to fight each other. Trunks is like, being the world champion is going to be fun, and Goten's like, I'll definitely let you know how it is.
Yeah,
he can dish it out when he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
Gohan and Videl realize that Goten is in the finals, and so they're trying to like cut the line and get there. But no dice, they won't let him.
Videl even steps up and says his brother's in the finals, and everybody knows who Videl is, and the person who works at the tournament's like, tough fucking titties. Sorry.
Yeah. Hercule was meditating. He now knows that he has to face off against one of the winning kids, but he hasn't yet seen that those two are Goten and Trunks. And I think he's going to freak out when he sees them. That's my note. He sees them on the ring, and he's like, God, that kid looks very familiar. He's looking at Goten, obviously. And Videl and Gohan arrive just in time to catch up with Goku, Krillin, and the rest of the people up on the stands on the far above place. There is a moment where Goten and Trunks start fighting, and it's so spectacular, so jaw-dropping, that you get to see reactions from the crowds as these two kids do what no other kids have done in the junior tournament so far, and that is have a good fight. It's amazing. It's another Dragon Ball Z fight, but it's been so goddamn long since we as the Dragon Ball Z audience have seen one that it is impressive on the same scale that the audience of the World Tournament feels. Like it matches that emotional high. There are some really funny shots. The audience being so distracted, so enraptured by this fight that like a dude with an ice cream cone, it just slowly slips down and falls onto this dude's bald head, which it takes like 30 seconds. And I was pulling for it by the end. Like I wanted it more than anything. And the moment that it happened, I was so relieved.
Yeah. Something you have to understand about this scene specifically is how loud everything has been up until now. Because there's always the crowd going haywire. There's always the tournament announcement music going off. And when the fight kicks off, the crowd shuts up. It shuts up. And the only thing that you hear are these kids doing the noises and the reintroduction of the incredible music from PyCon's little section. And there are moments in that track of music where it's like long and drawn out, kind of quiet. And because you don't hear the crowd anymore, you audibly understand that the intensity, that the tension has raised. Not just because you're watching them fight and they're doing unbelievable things, but also
you just feel it.
in the whole thing. This is the first Dragon Ball Z fight that we get in Dragon Ball Reset, and it's really well done. It's really well done. I don't know what else to say about it.
I like it a lot.
It's really fantastic.
There's some really cool stuff here. I'll point out a couple highlights that I noticed.
Yeah.
First of all, Goten and Trunks charge towards each other. It focuses on Trunks for just a little bit, and you get to see maybe the first and only demonstration of an after image technique that I think makes sense. Trunks is moving so fast that he bears left, right? He tries to get in front of, on top of whatever, Goten. And you get to see the just slightly transparent image of Trunks continually charging forward as you see the solid Trunks break to the left. So it makes sense that Goten charges into the transparent Trunks because visually we understand that it's still there. And Trunks gets a hit over top of him, which is really cool. Goten avoids a ring out just narrowly by flying.
My favorite
he gets
part.
knocked out of the
That's
ring.
my favorite part of the whole fight, because whenever a character is going by the momentum of the last hit that they've taken, they're just going and then they stop in midair. They just they just quit going. I don't know why. That is my favorite thing. When you stop your momentum mid-flight by doing a flex and you just are no longer moving. That's so fucking cool. And Goten does it, and Trunks doesn't know that Goten can fly. So it's a surprising moment. Trunks thought that Goten was out, but nope, true. Goten's not out.
Chi-Chi and Bulma are being like stereotypical soccer moms as they're both yelling for their kid to win. And Bulma has a hold of Oolong and is just beating the shit out of him.
That happens a lot.
For her son. It does happen a lot. So you get this iconic shot, in my opinion, of Trunks and Goten charging toward each other and punching each other in the face at the same exact time, so they both get each other's cheek.
Yes.
And it sort of freeze frames on that. They're locked in this battle, right? In the center of the arena. They keep punching and punching and punching, and very slowly they start to rise up. They start to fly into the air as they continue to punch each other. And they drift like in front of the sun, and it has this little God ray effect. Yeah. It's very beautiful.
Really well done.
And the audience is reacting as you would expect a human audience. Like, hey, you can't fly. That's against human nature. Like things like that. Videl realizes maybe for the first time just how powerful Trunks and Goten are, that they're not just normal kids.
Yes.
She doesn't fully understand like the concept of a Saiyan or whatever. You can see her throughout these episodes putting pieces together. Yeah. It's really lovely. I like that a lot.
Like I said, every single cut to all these other characters, their reaction shots, they tell a story. They tell a combined story between the cuts. It's not just useless.
And everybody is shocked.
Except the Z Fighters, of course.
Except the Z Fighters, of course. But all the human people are shocked that this is happening. They are silent for a bit, that they just cheer it on. They want more. They want more. And that's where the episode ends, in sort of a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I want to accentuate that silent moment because it's them fighting, Trunks and Goten. They go in for a punch, and they're holding a punch against each other, and you can see both of them go from angry face to just smiling at each other. And you get the sense that, wow, their Saiyan blood is just like, they love this. Like, this is like when dogs are wrestling and they're like fighting, play fighting. This is what this is. But they're little kids Saiyans.
Exactly right. And the relationship between the two boys is pretty good.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole thing. I think it's really well done.
Yeah. And you can already get the sense that Trunks, being the 8-year-old who is older than Goten, being the 7-year-old.
By 1 year.
It is the leader.
Yep. But I like their relationship more than Goku and Vegeta because it's more friendly than adversarial.
That's a great way to put it. It's a friendly
And in Goku and Vegeta, Goku is not adversarial and Vegeta is. I feel like Goten and Trunks are on the same level
of competitiveness.
Yeah. They're both competitive with each other and they like each other as friends. And in Goku and Vegeta, it's like one-sided depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this relationship between the two kids is very equal. I'm going to use the restroom really quick and then we can get into the next episode.
Okay. All right. I thought you were going to interrupt yourself and do a mid-roll or something, but okay.
No, you should do a mid-roll. I'm going to use the restroom while John does a mid-roll shout out where we congratulate the patrons of our Dragon Ball Z podcast that they're supporting us and helping us through these trying times of creating an anime review podcast in the middle of World War III.
Yeah, and it really sounds like you're doing the mid-roll, so go ahead.
We want to congratulate Spencer Feuerstein.
All right. Well, just for everyone that isn't watching Spencer's Zoom call, after Spencer said Spencer Feuerstein, that was it. He dropped his headphones on the ground. So I don't know if Spencer just wants to congratulate Spencer Feuerstein. Maybe it's favoritism based off of the similar name thing. Or maybe Spencer has just quit the podcast. I don't actually know. But at this point, I feel like I need to finish up the mid-roll shout-out. So just to kind of continue where he left off and then maybe has left forever. Also, thank you to Tyler Hayat. I know it's not Hayat. It's not like a Hayat. It's not a karate chop, but it's just more fun to say it that way. Just ask Dan. See what I do with his name. Their name? Tyler Hyatt. There. I'll say it right. Also, Artex, the creator. Andrew Winden. Dan Shumate. And Richard Alanis. Thank you very much for continuing to support us. Now, I guess, I don't know. Do I just do the rest of the episode alone? Because Spencer's not back. I don't know if he's coming back. It's been more than the average amount of pissing time for like the average individual. So maybe he's getting another drink. He does sound kind of blissed in this episode. He's having a Dragon Ball Z party amount of booze in his body right now. So maybe he's doing that. Maybe he's walking a dog I don't know he has. I don't know what to do here. Episode 213. I don't have the actual episode titles, so I don't know what they are. I'll give you my episode title, but it doesn't hit right unless you hear the other ones first, because the point of the joke is to contrast. It's the contrast.
All right. Did you finish the mid-roll shout-out, or did you
Oh
just
my
wait?
God, you're back. I didn't know what to do. I was just sitting here alone. I didn't know if we were going to be able to continue the podcast. I thought that was it. I thought you quit.
That walk-off.
Yeah, you just dropped the headphones and you were done.
Anyway, episode 212. The Japanese title is Happiness Times a Million. The junior champion is decided. The American title is Best of the Boys.
I wonder how much of the times a million kind of stuff is serious versus parody of itself.
I know, right? You almost think that some of these, especially these Japanese titles,
yeah,
like it's sort of a wink and a nudge
right.
to the ridiculousness of the show.
I wonder how much of it is that. I don't know. I can't know.
I don't know either. Maybe it's just a thing, like it's more of a colloquialism.
Right.
Is that the word?
Yeah.
That they use in Japan, or at least Japan circa mid-1990s.
Yeah.
Than we do or have ever used. And so it makes more sense there.
Yeah, I don't know. My episode title is the one where Vegeta's final form is finally revealed. Full Dad.
I like the sort of recurring theme of dad versus dad, kid versus kid. I know it's stereotypical, but the fact that like it's happening in the DBZ universe just tickles me. It's very good.
They established their world, the structure of how everything works, and now they can just have fun in it.
Yeah. Well, exactly. It's not life altering. It's not universe ending. It's not this big bad villain we have to defeat. It's literally just a day in the fucking park.
Mm-hmm.
And it's two kids playing soccer and being like, I bet my kid's going to get more goals than you. It's so normal.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fucking normal. It's
abnormal
almost
because it's so fucking
exactly. In this universe, in this anime, it feels wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so good. Like, I don't know. It's very fun to watch.
It is. Yeah.
I will admit that especially these 5 episodes drag it out maybe a little bit more than I want it to be.
Yeah.
But it's still appreciated after everything that's come before.
Yeah. Well, that's especially apparent in the beginning of this episode because it is a retread.
Yeah.
The first 3 minutes of this episode are shots from the last episode kind of redone. And that we haven't done that. Every episode over the past 13, 12 have just jumped
It's been
right
pretty
in.
unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the next 2 kind of start with retreads.
They do.
And it is to the show's detriment, no question.
Yes.
I feel like making the Trunks versus Goten fight longer than half an episode was a mistake.
I understand why from a production standpoint, and even from a trying to get an audience member that perhaps did not watch the previous episode on board on this episode. I get that also. But then from somebody who's watching the show the way that we are, it is to the show's detriment, like you said. It really is.
For sure. And it's such a hard lens to see it through because when it first aired, it was episodic.
Yeah.
But I don't mean this in the sort of artsy, fartsy way that it comes across, but the show was ahead of its time in that it had a foundation and built upon that foundation, advanced time, advanced character arcs, and things like that. It wanted to tell a serialized story, but the way TV worked back then, it really couldn't without having these catch-up episodes every once in a while.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I don't know how, it got away with ignoring it and just doing its own thing. And that's where it works really well.
Yeah.
But when it dips back into this sort of previously on without being a previously on, where it just literally retreads ground or extends it out so that you, as an audience member coming in 3 episodes into this arc, understand what's going on, it kind of falls flat.
Yeah. I think at this point in time, we've decided if you are not on board from the beginning, then sorry. They get on board.
That's what it should have stuck with. Yeah, for sure. And it doesn't always. Sometimes it does, but it doesn't always. This is one example of where it doesn't. I think it's lesser for that.
Yes. And it's different now because you can just pop on Netflix and watch it from the beginning. But back then you had to catch it when it came on TV. So
yeah. And if it didn't, you had to wait a year for reruns.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes sense why it exists, but it's not good. In the context of watching things now
of the whole show,
or of the whole show, exactly. It's not the best. It takes away. It really does.
Yeah, on an episode by episode basis, it's maybe better for it.
Yeah. There's another,
but that's only if you're coming in. I don't know.
There's another question, which is, did the manga do that? Because I feel like the answer is no.
That's fucking.
But I don't know.
That's a great question because I'm not. As much as I love DBZ as a universe and stuff, I have most of the video games at this point. Not only do I admire the anime, multi-genre sort of fascination. I've never read the mangas. I've never gotten a hold of them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
When you get to the end of volume 13 and then you pick up volume 14, are the first 7 pages just a retread of what happened last time? My gut instinct says no, because you don't have to do that.
I would assume that is the case as well.
But anyway, so the weird things that you have to talk about when talking about an anime that came out forever ago.
Well, one that's so like multifaceted and so old, but still so popular and whatever.
It's super unique, very unique.
Yeah.
But so week start here where we retread Trunks and Goten. We're just going to say every permutation of those letters.
Yeah.
It's them fighting. And Trunks does remark that Goten is stronger now. Goten says, well, my brother helped train me up. And Trunks says, well, you know what? I'm going to kick it up a notch, and does a blast, starts charging a blast. We cut to the Z gang. Krillin is freaking out. Like, no. There's so many people here.
This shot of like them being surprised by the use of energy blasts is like done in this weird fisheye lens.
Yeah.
Where the people on the left and right are sort of bent inward, which blows my mind because if like you could accidentally do that or do that on purpose in like an actual movie shoot with real life people because it's the lens you're using, right? But if you have to storyboard this, like you have to plan it in advance, and I don't know what it adds. It was so jarring to me because I'm like, oh, that's a fisheye lens. Wait a second, this is an anime. Like it was so wild to see this pop up in DBZ, but it captures everybody's reaction to Trunks using energy blast.
I wonder if it's the idea is to add a sense of like maybe tension or to add a sense of something. That's why they did it.
Sure.
Because the characters at this point are really concerned. No, don't.
Well, like surprise, discomfort, something out of the ordinary,
something like that,
et cetera, et cetera.
So
there's some merit.
But it's still a weird choice. I agree. They had to think about it up front. They're like, how about we do this? And then Toriyama's counting his cash, and so he doesn't give a fuck. He's like, do whatever. Yeah, I guess whatever.
But Goku's not surprised. He's like, nah. It's fine. They can use energy blast. Trunks has got this. He's got it under control. I can tell.
I don't even think it's that Goku knows everything's going to be fine. I think Goku's dumb as rocks and is like, yeah, that'll be pretty.
At the very least, he assumes that everything's going to be fine. and in fact, Trunks lets loose a blast, which Goten dodges. The blast goes into the audience, but at the last second, Trunks sort of pulls it. Another fun leaflet that we can put into the energy handbook of DBZ. As the energy is controlled and moved upward, dodging everybody in the audience, and it goes off like a rocket into the sky. The audience reacts as you would expect a normal audience to react. Hey, that's weird. Isn't that illegal? I don't know what this is.
It's like
that guy just used a rocket launcher. Yeah, which is not expounded upon in the actual canon of the fight. The fight just continues on. Goten in turn fires he's like, hey, Trunks, that was really cool. Look what my brother taught me. Kamehameha. And Trunks Trunks, Goku, somebody says like, hey, can Goten control that? But it doesn't matter because he fucking launches it and Trunks just moves his head to the left, totally dodges the Kamehameha as it careens into the roof of the World Martial Arts Tournament and just singes it. And everybody's like, oh my God, he's gonna blow up the entire world.
So difference here, Japanese difference. And this is an important one because it comes up in the games. And I don't understand. This is one of the divergences that I don't understand why English did what it did. Goten in Japanese says, hey, my brother taught me this. Kamehameha. He says it wrong.
Kamehameha?
He says it wrong. Yes, he says it wrong. And it cuts to Trunks, who in English is the one who asks, can you control that? In Japanese, Trunks laughs and says, you said it wrong. It's Kamehameha, you moron.
Huh. As if like it's a different move that still works, but is a little bit more volatile or something.
Yes, exactly. So
that's interesting.
There's some stuff in there in Japanese that I don't know why they didn't take it there.
It's Wingardium Leviosa.
Yeah, and he said it wrong. Yeah. And so I always wondered why that move appears in the games. Why Goten? It is hard to keep these for real characters straight. Yeah.
Oh, it's so hard.
When you play Goten,
the move is Kamehameha.
Yeah, it's not Kamehameha.
Is in the games.
It's Kamehameha, or it's a different spelling of it. He says it wrong is the point, and that is an actual move that you can choose to get in place of a Kamehameha. Anytime you choose Goten in Xenoverse, that's the kind of Kamehameha he has. It's the wrong.
Goten's in Xenoverse? I haven't played in a while. I was a big Kamehameha player. I was a big Xenoverse player.
I was a big Kamehameha player also, okay? There's all different kinds. There's the super, there's the black, there's the rose.
How cool is Xenoverse as a game?
It's that really
lets you
cool.
Customize your own character and like equip your own moves and power-ups and shit.
It's
very good.
I think, honestly, Xenoverse was a revitalization for Dragon Ball Z games. It really was, overall. And now I'm done talking about it. Because if we keep going, we have to cut it out. But if we stop here, we can keep it in.
Yeah, you're right. So, The fight continues on, and Trunks gets a stranglehold on Goten. God,
yeah, man, I can't either. There's so many.
Trunks strangleholds. He does a full Nelson on Goten up in the air, like way up in the air, and Goten can't move, and he's getting really frustrated. And eventually, he's just like, "Fuck it." Goes Super Saiyan and breaks out instantaneously.
Yes.
I love this because Goku didn't know that Goten could go Super Saiyan, and he kind of freaks out a little bit that his son can go Super Saiyan at such a young age. Again, when it's done in universe and people are surprised by it, it helps the audience accept the weird ass power scaling that's happening in the show. Vegeta says like, Kakarot, that's not fair. and Goku says like, well, don't look at me. He did it. Like, I'm not responsible for I only met my son today.
It's like, dude, I'm dead, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
So Goten breaks out of the hole, goes down to the arena floor. There's like murmurs from the audience. Oh, hey, that kid's hair turned yeller. And things like that. It's very, very good. Again, the voice actor's just having a field day. Hercule sees this and like, oh my God, that kid is the spitting images of the dude that beats Cell. What the fuck is going on? 7 years later, and I'm still encountering these creeps. I'm going to have to fight one of them.
Oh, I have to mention that the faces that everyone is drawn with when they are surprised are so hyperbolized in the best possible cartoon way. Where Vidal's face is now just gigantic eyes. It's like 80% of her face.
The small pupils and stuff.
80% of her face, gigantic eyes, tiny little sliver of a mouth open. Everyone's face is like that, with the eyes bulging out.
I will say that it probably hits the gas a little hard in this respect, but it is cool the first couple times that it happens because it gives you that sense of, oh, the rest of the world doesn't know how powerful these characters are.
Yeah, I agree. Hit the gas kind of hard, specifically with Vidal, because every time they cut back to her, it's
every
the same time.
Well, Hercule too is that same family.
Yeah.
So anyway, Hercule isn't taking this well. Trunks, as their kid fighting, basically, Trunks is like, oh man, I'm going to beat you so bad. I'm going to do this without the use of my left arm. And he puts his left arm behind his back, which like Frieza did this, right?
Yes, Frieza's not going to use their arms, I think. was the whole thing. They were
Okay.
going to use just kicks and tail, I think.
I felt like this was familiar.
Mhm.
So the cameras are still down, like literally all cameras, disposable, video, every single camera doesn't work because of what Piccolo did, that dirty, dirty deed. More weird accents, French, German,
Everybody.
Canadian.
Just, mhm.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I love every second
It's like
of
they
it.
had a globe and they just spun it and then stopped in a place.
Pointed,
Yeah.
like
This one.
it's like they bet, and I want to find out.
We can ask Eric because he was there for this.
He must have been there. Like, did they really like egg each other on, or was it like just a matter of like, well, fuck it, I guess I can pull out this accent. Like, I really want to know.
I almost feel
how
like
this was all cobbled together.
Here's Eric Vale's response. Hell yeah, man. We were just having fun, you know? There. That's what he would say. That's almost exactly what he would say, I'm pretty sure. We were just screwing
If we
around.
ever interview them, we should just like fucking copy paste that right on top of it, because I do not disagree. Anyway, here's my question with this whole camera thing, because it does take a big part of the episode, of these episodes. Like it takes a weird amount of the spotlight, that the cameras are broken.
Yes.
That nobody in the world outside of the people that are physically watching this tournament will ever know that these superpowered people are fighting.
Mhm.
Why the hell does Toriyama care to keep the powers, the Saiyans, the energy blasts secret from the rest of the world at large? And has enough happened in the past that it doesn't fucking matter anymore?
That's a good question. I think it's a world building element, I guess.
Well, that's the thing, is there's enough happening that you think this is deliberate.
Yeah.
They're trying to keep this from the rest of the world. But in the past, hasn't enough happened with the Saiyans taking over, with Cell rampaging through cities, that it wouldn't matter at this point? Like they would just be accepting of it?
I wonder if it's more of a character choice to try and keep the eyes of the world off of them specifically. Less of a Toriyama world building decision.
And more of a don't look Goku as a hero.
And more of
So
a
to speak.
Piccolo has made the decision to take all the eyes off of everyone. Made the decision to break all the cameras, I mean, which keeps the world's eyes off the gang so that they're not constantly being asked, hey, train me. Hey, how do you do that? Hey, did you save the world? Hey, whatever. So maybe it is a character choice by Piccolo to keep this in a small group of people, which is why it's so important that Videl is now becoming in this group. She shows us what the rest of the world would react like, given like a front row seat to all of this, and had someone explain it.
It's this tiny little microcosm where it's just her.
Yeah. So I wonder if that's what it is, but I don't know.
It was interesting. I noticed that a weird amount of time was spent on establishing the fact that the rest of the world cannot see this tournament.
Yeah, it is. There's a cut to Vegeta, who is very intense watching the fight. He really wants his son to win, but he's not outright soccer momming.
Yeah, it's great. Vegeta barely says anything in these episodes as a whole, but every time you get a little peek at him, you just get a little insight into what he's thinking. I think it's very well animated.
Also, speaking of well animated, some of these punches, if you're watching this show along with us, which there's maybe one person, I bet, out of the however many that are listening to us, I feel like people have either going through the series themselves or have watched it. But to you, the one individual out there that's watching this show along with us, pay attention to when Trunks says, I'm going to use one arm, and goes to make those first series of punches against Goten, because they are incredibly well designed as far as watching combat is concerned. You see the windup of the attack, you see the reaction of the other fighter, then you see the strike of the attack, followed by the reaction of the offending fighter, and then it follows that pattern. It's not just a bunch of garbled fists and line images. It's really well constructed. And there's only like 4 hits that are like this in a row, but it's
still a great fight. Another aspect of the fight that I liked is when Goten gets a little bit of an edge on Trunks, and Trunks has to backstep like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And the music follows the backstep. Like you can hear the cuts in the music that match the footsteps backward, which is fantastic. And then during all this, Videl finally snaps and she's like, Gohan, you're giving him special training, aren't you? And Gohan's like, no. But yes, but kind of.
I don't know why Gohan is so adamant about not explaining what Saiyans are, not explaining why he's very awkward.
It's weird. It's I understand it in a respect. Like they should have spent more time establishing that he just wants to be a normal human boy.
Right.
Instead of showing his Saiyan heritage.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would have gone a long way to justify these scenes, because
That's true.
throughout the next couple episodes, he does spend a weird amount of time to restrict Vidal's view of reality,
Yes.
which I think could be seen as a weird thing, but he has her best interest at heart.
He does. It is a character choice because you're right. He wants to be a normal kid. But right now in this conversation, I forgot that and was more hung up on why is he doing it.
Well, everybody was, right? I think as an audience, because we've come from 200 episodes of the show, it's very easy to look at this fight and say like, oh yeah, this makes total sense. But you got to remove yourself from that and say like, Vidal is seeing this for the first time ever, regardless of the training that she's had with flying and everything. She doesn't know that there are aliens.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't, she still has a lot to learn. But the question of why Gohan chooses to keep her in the dark is a relevant one.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, but you're right. It's explainable, but they should have had more. He's a
teenager. He likes a girl. He wants to impress her. And maybe the best way he thinks that is possible is to relate to her more than show her that a new world exists.
Yeah. Goten then has a mid-roll shit. We already did that. Goten.
We already did it. Did you write in your notes mid-roll shout out here?
I did. So I like, fuck. Goten does this crazy dive bomb thing.
Trunks is on the ground. Goten goes up. Goten, I don't remember what they say or if anything.
What's he doing? That's it.
Yeah. Goten goes down, dive bombs from the sky to the arena where Trunks is. And it's kind of a big deal. In the Japanese subtitles, a lot of fucking dialogue is said.
Yeah, it's the opposite of how it normally works.
It's one of the only times that I can think of where the Japanese says way more than the American does. The dub says nothing. Goten dive bombs Trunks and it's all done visually, which I think honestly is a better way to go. In the Japanese subtitles, Trunks is like, okay, he's going to dive bomb me. He's going to do this and that. And I'm going to do this and that, whatever. He lays out this whole battle plan as this is happening. This sort of climax almost to the fight between these.
That's what it is.
In the American dub, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. Goten's doing what he's doing. Trunks is doing what he's doing. You as an audience member just have to kind of brace and accept whatever's shown to you. I like the dub version way better.
Yeah.
I think the moments land with a certain emotional impact if you're not being bombarded by dialogue during this part.
It gives us a little bit of a snippet of what it would be like to watch the show in Japanese, because the English dub for the first 200 episodes, I imagine, did this a ton. Just filled up space with dialogue. And even the few that we watched.
During that interview, Eric Vale said, like, that was our job. We had to fill the space because that was what the audiences were
expected to enjoy.
That was what we were told the audience were expected to enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good because it means that they've moved on. It means that at this point forward, they can embrace just visually storytelling.
Yeah. They're trying to make a moment of their own.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they disagreed with whatever the Japanese was doing. And they said, this is going to be better our way. Yeah. Which is kind of a landmark moment.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's the first. It's definitely the first one that we've noticed. Yeah. So
sorry if we're missing other ones, but this is where we started watching the Japanese. So shut up.
Anyway, it's very cool. I like it a lot. Yeah. Goten dive bombs Trunks and Trunks dodges out of the way just at the last minute. Goten does a really fucking cool thing.
Oh, it's super cool.
It's really good and really well animated, where he like energy blasts the bottom of the arena just as he's about to hit the floor without Trunks there. And he manages to use his own energy to kind of catapult him to the left. So he spins out in another direction instead of hitting the floor of the arena, thanks to his carefully hit energy blast. It's really cool. It like breaks his fall. It bends like a pillow or whatever, and he bounces off in another direction. Yeah. Super, super cool. And he goes flying into the stands. Trunks is able to dodge Goten's incoming hit with this nice little counter that he's pulled off. And Goten does the air brakes, tries to stop himself, just barely managed to hit the stands, the staircase in the bleachers as he stops. Technically gets a
He's
ring
ringed out. It's important to note that in order for Trunks to even do this, Trunks had to go Super Saiyan and use the hand that he said he wouldn't use to fire a blast at Goten.
I honestly, I was typing notes so fast that I didn't even see it until after it had happened. And I looked back and Trunks was Super Saiyan all of a sudden. So like this happens quick.
It is. It's a blink and you'll miss it, but it's a great moment that shows that because they're not supposed to go Super Saiyan, and Goten intentionally went Super Saiyan to break out of the hold, they're willing to bend and break their own rules a little bit.
Of course, they're kids. Like,
exactly.
Yeah. Trunks does it, and then Goten's like, hey, no fair. You use the hand you said you wouldn't use, and you went Super Saiyan. And Trunks is like, I'll give you 3 of my toys, and you can pick which ones. And Goten's like, all right.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. That moment shows their friendship. Like, they're just playing. They're just kids. And it seriously reminded me of moments that I had during my childhood where I was like, I will give you these 3 army men for these for this army man. You know what I mean? Like that sort of, you just had this bartering system as kids.
Yeah, exactly.
And it worked. Like you were, I don't know. It's nice. It's sweet. It shows their friendship, and it's cool.
It's a realistic human moment in the show Dragon Ball Z.
There you go.
And there's a ton of them, and this is just another good one.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm over them, but I'm getting used to it at this point.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
Like it was such a surprise to see this in Dragon Ball Z, and now we're almost relying on them to carry the show.
Well,
because there's no big villain. There's no big story arc where they have to save the world. It's literally just like a family, like I said, out at the park.
Yeah.
And so you need these human moments. I think that's how you carry a story forward. When you downplay the action, is you have more humanity, you have more character development and stuff like that. And the show is certainly delivering.
After it's over, the announcer calls out, Trunks is the winner. And oh my God, the dad moment from Vegeta here is
so
incredible.
Good.
So the camera cuts over to Vegeta and Goku, and Vegeta's just got the biggest fucking shit-eating dad smile and pats Goku on the shoulder. Like, your son put up a good fight, but it looks like there can only be one champion, Kakarot. He's just giving it and Goku takes it with like, oh man, like he doesn't care that much. He doesn't care nearly as much as Vegeta cares. Vegeta's just brimming. It like maybe for the first time in the entirety of the show, you see Vegeta just elated, just spilling out with enjoyment. The only time I can think that he was this happy was in the Namek saga when he thought he was going to become immortal. Like that is the closest time.
It's on that level.
It's on that level. His son beat Kakarot's son. So it's the same amount of enjoyment as if he were to get a wish granted.
If we have any dads in the audience that are listening now, do you like contact us how you feel when your son and or daughter wins like a tournament, like a sporting event or something? Does it match that feeling of the best achievement that you've had in your life? Does it really carry over genetically like that?
Yeah, Jeremy.
Of something
how does that
you
feel?
Didn't do?
When Aoku beats the shit out of another little kid, does that feel incredibly satisfying on like a deep, deep eternal level to where you just had a wish granted? Is that what that feels like?
I'm so curious because I don't have a kid of my own. So I don't know at this point.
Yeah. Email us.
Anyway.
mail@hdbz.com. You can also send, I don't fucking forgot already what our outro is.
Eric Hates DBZ is our Twitter handle.
Our Patreon is patreon.com/EricHatesDBZ. Music is by me. I'm Burn7.
Oh my God. We're not done. We have like 2 more episodes.
Don't Videl me what to do. There.
It's fucking stupid pun. Stupid dumb pun.
That was a pun. End. We just end the show now. We did all the things we have to.
So, by the rules of the tournament, Trunks is going to face off against Hercule, which I am very much in favor of.
Yeah.
Hercule knows at this point.
Yeah, Hercule knows.
Fucking disaster. It's going to be so bad. And so the crowd starts cheering. The world announcer is doing his fucking best to maintain the integrity of the tournament because Hercule just won't show his face. He's like, come on, let's cheer. Get a little louder. And Hercule is just in the background behind the stage going, nah, I'm good. He just sits there watching. He won't move. And that, like, we end on a cliffhanger. It's weird, right? Because in the Japanese subtitles, there is a narrator thing, like as normal, as you would expect at the end of a Dragon Ball Z episode. In the American dub, it's nothing. And Hercule just goes like, oh, fuck. And then the episode ends. It's so weird.
There's a lot of weird choices in these episodes, and I enjoy them. I enjoy
I'm on
mix-up.
board.
Yeah.
I'm totally on board. It just like the format was broken.
Mhm.
They say that like you got to follow the rules long enough to where you can break the rules and elicit a surprise.
Yeah.
And I think that this was perfect. A perfect example of that. That's probably
That's how you say that. Yeah.
To say.
Be the end of that sentence.
Yeah. Episode 213. The Japanese title is Now What, Satan? The Greatest Pinch in History. The American title is Big Trouble, Little Trunks. I know. It doesn't make any sense, right?
Both of those are pretty good. Both of those are pretty good. I understand the biggest pinch in history. If pinch is supposed to mean like
punch,
scam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if that's what they're trying to mean. But I do like the parallel to thanks Satan that we get from that one.
The Satan thing is pretty good.
I really enjoy that. My title is Mr. Satan Wins an Academy Award.
He does, though. All right, so this episode starts just after the fight between Goten and Trunks. Trunks doesn't want to take a rest, despite the availability of such a thing by the World Tournament
of a rest happening.
Yeah. Hercule, who has been hiding in the corner for the entire time, finally decides to come out thanks to the cheering and whatnot. It's going to be Trunks versus Hercule. And as soon as Hercule appears to the crowd, he's just like, he steps into Hercule mode. He's like, oh yeah, you want to fight? You're going to get a fight. Let's do this.
Yeah. So do you know how Goku gains energy for the spirit bomb through channeling the living whatever?
Yeah.
Hercule gains the energy to be Hercule through cheering.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's just social energy drop. There's a cut to the rest of the Z fighters, and Krillin says, yeah, this is going to suck. Let's go get food. And Goku's like, food? Hell yeah.
I loved that so much. Krillin wants to just go get a bite to eat because Hercule versus Trunks is not interested in him at all.
It's not a fight. It's not even a fight. It's just like, okay, fuck this. We're done. It's like commercials, basically. So they're saying, fuck this. We're gonna go get food. So they go to leave. And Vidal's there and it's like, hey, don't you want to watch my dad? My dad beat Cell. And Gohan, who was leaving with everyone else, stops and goes, oh yeah, totally. Right. Yeah, let's watch the forgot you were fucking here. And so the other ones are like, nah, and they just leave. The other ones say they're not fucking around. This whole time, Gohan has been trying to get Videl and the rest of the Z fighters to understand one another, but they're in two completely separate universes from one another. There's a moment where Vegeta like shits on Hercule and Videl turns and is like, what the fuck? And Gohan steps between them and is like, nope, he's kidding. That's Vegeta's sense of humor.
It's kind of amazing at how much work Gohan has been doing to make sure that Videl doesn't have her like worldview shattered.
Yeah. Yes.
It's very good.
He's trying to spoon feed it to her. He's trying to do it his way.
Yeah, just little by little.
Just a little bit. So Mr. Satan gets into the ring, does a whole bunch of weird moves.
Super, super weird.
Yeah. And Trunks is, of course, unimpressed. In his head, Mr. Satan is freaking out, of course, because he should be.
Yeah. He knows at this point that the kid is one of the people that is related to the people that won the Cell games and all that shit.
Yeah. He, at this point, Hercule understands all the blasts and everything. Those are not tricks. These people, he's seen enough to know these people exist and are not human. Like, there's no way. Yeah. So he comes up with an idea, which is the only option, really, which is I have to fake that I'm throwing the fight for everybody. And then, I'll go away a winner. Everybody will think I'm a hero because I let the little kid beat me. That's what we're doing. So he goes up to Trunks and he says, hey, before we fight, we have to do a champion greeting. You know how champions greet each other? They punch each other in the face just as lightly as possible. Just a little tap on the cheek. And I don't know where this voice is becoming, but it's not Hercule anymore.
It's pretty good. I mean, it's close.
So that's the plan. Before the fight happens, as soon as they say begin, Mr. Hercule is going to let Trunks do a champion greeting to him. Extends his face out, like really far out to Trunks, and you get a crowd reaction shot. Oh, wow, he's such a good guy, letting the little guy get a free punch in. And Trunks' face does not move from the brood face, and he just bops him right on the cheek. Just gets him. And there's a slow motion shot of when the fist connects and Mr. Satan's whole head and bone structure reacts to the power of the punch. And it speeds up back to real time. It's very weird. It's very 300-esque. Dragon Ball Z was way ahead of its goddamn time. And Mr. Satan really flies into the wall, smashes in, breaks all the wallpaper off. The whole crowd goes silent. He peels off the wall, hits the ground. There's just a moment where nobody knows what the fuck is happening. And Trunks doesn't react because Trunks knows. He's just like, although in Trunks' head, Trunks does not know that Mr. Satan is full of shit. Trunks wonders if he's super powerful.
Yeah, exactly. This whole time he's debating back and forth. Is this guy really like super strong, or is he just pretending and he's super weak? Like, even kid Trunks just doesn't know because Hercule's act is that good.
Yeah. That's what it is. It's because he's putting on the show, and it's a good show. It's a pretty good show. So
after Hercule gets knocked into the brick wall, he gets up and he's like, that kid beat me. He's so strong. He beat the world champion. And then everybody takes that as sarcasm, sort of like, Satan's great. Mr. Satan's great. He let the kid win. What a hero. Of course, like that's the only way it could have gone. Honestly,
it's the only option. It was the only way out of this with him still being the world champion.
Yeah. And it works for him. I mean, I admire Hercule just because he keeps getting out of these scrapes. We cut to the Z Warriors going, like, they just left. They didn't care. Yeah, they're going to get food. The world announcer at the end of this is like, hey, be sure to get your cold drinks, chili dogs, and mouthwatering nachos. And it cuts over to Goku and Co. And Goku's like, yeah, I had those nachos. Yeah. I don't know how this comes about. I can't remember, but Piccolo is going by the name Ma Jr.
Yeah, so they're planning to go get some food, but then Goku comments on how shitty the stand food is. Someone says, hey, we should go into I don't remember what it's called, but there's a section.
It's like, there's a section for tournament goers only. It's like a spa.
It's like a resort.
They have like a buffet and a little like hot tubs and stuff. Relax.
Yeah, and that's where they want to get
for entrance only, tournament entrance only.
And so they go to there because they're like, for sure the food there has to be better at the resort than at the stupid shitty stands with all the carnies that try to steal your wallet. It's got to be better there.
Yeah.
So they go meet a member of, or they meet a employee of the tournament. What do we call these people? Somebody who just works for the tournament. Because they're all wearing the same like semi almost Buddhist-ish robe type situation. Yeah. So they meet one of those people and he has a clipboard. And they say, hey, we're members. You should let us in. And he says, okay, I'm going to need all of your names. And it goes Krillin, 18, Vegeta. But when it gets to Piccolo says, my name's Ma Jr. And Goku turns around like, I'm sorry, what the fuck did you just say, Piccolo? He says, I figured it'd be good to go under an alias, stay under the radar. Nobody knows who I am. And Goku says, yeah, that's pretty smart. And then they just continue going. Like, it's not, nobody makes a deal.
Like, was Ma a thing in Dragon Ball?
I don't know.
Like, I honestly don't know where this comes from.
I don't either. Is it Ma like mother? I don't know.
Yeah. Did his dad, King Piccolo, go by Ma?
I don't know.
I'm not sure of any.
I don't know. But during the walk to the resort, Goku says something about the food in Otherworld not being amazing. Krillin says he wants to visit Otherworld or something. Look, the point is Goku asks Krillin if he wants to die. That happens.
Yeah, that was weird. He's like, they want to train, they want to eat food, whatever. Goku's like, yeah, you should come to Otherworld. And Krillin's like, nah, man, I'm married and living the life. I don't want to die.
Yeah. It's mainly the I don't want to die thing, though, Goku. That's the whole, because you remember how you got there, you exploded.
I love that Goku is on board with the idea that death doesn't mean anything in the universe, but everybody else is kind of like, no, dying would suck.
Right, yeah. But Goku doesn't care. Goku, at this point,
of course, Goku doesn't
just has died twice, and so it's fine.
Yeah. The Z Warriors eat at the buffet. At some point during all this, it does cut to Goten and Trunks scheming. They're like, well, we won the junior championships, but I want to get into the adult fights. We could totally win that. That would be great. And so they sort of scheme there. It doesn't really go anywhere. Gohan and Videl catch up with the Z Warriors eating the buffet, and they tell them about the match with Hercule and Trunks. Krillin comments that Hercule should get an Academy Award for the performance. which is just another one of the many great lines that he has in these episodes.
Mhm.
And the Saiyans eat and eat and eat. And Krillin's like, oh man, you Saiyans can really put it away. Vidal's like, what's a Saiyan? And that's a whole thing.
Yeah, becomes another Gohan trying to cover up. Like, haha, that's Krillin's sense of humor. Haha, Krillin just won't shut the fuck up sometimes.
Which, like, yeah, it's repetitive and stuff, but it is kind of funny to see Gohan being the only one trying to hide these facts from Vidal.
Because nobody else gives a fuck.
Everybody else doesn't care. Yeah,
nobody else cares. There is a moment where, so the Z fighters are eating when Gohan walks up and explains Trunks beat Mr. Saiyan in one punch. There's a not even 1 second cut to Vegeta, who stops eating and just smirks with mouth full of food, cheeks full of food. He's just got this shit-eating smirk like, fuck yeah. And then it cuts away. It's so fast. It's a blink and you'll miss it. But you see Vegeta mouth fucking full smirk. He's like, fuck yeah, I bet he did. That's it. Then it cuts away.
So after the Z Warriors are finished with the buffet, they're walking around the tournament grounds.
Can we talk about the gut punch comment?
And Goku's like, man, I'm so full. If I have to fight any one of you, because they're going to the draw ceremony where the adult fighters will figure out who they're fighting. Goku says, if I have to fight any one of you, you better not punch me in the gut, because I'll fucking rout. And
he says those words. That's in the show.
He does.
Krillin says something about, hey, some of y'all take it easy. They talk about the prize money. And then we get to talk with Vegeta about how Vegeta feels about the draw.
And Vegeta's like, if I have to fight Kakarot, the first thing I'm going to do is punch him in the gut.
Yeah. Yes.
Not only does he make a mental note, but he brings it up like 5 minutes later.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
Yeah. The gang's walking along the pathway and they come across someone.
Two someones
who are extremely out of place. Very out of place. And
their skin color, the way that they're dressed, the way that they hold themselves, the music especially. Oh my God. I love the mysterious music that kicks in right here is great.
Super good. And it's not even the way that they're designed that is weird, because we're talking about Dragon Ball fucking Z here. And
anything goes.
Yeah, anything goes. The camera intentionally pans down to show that the shorter purple one is just floating.
There's two guys. There's one that's shorter. He's purple. He's flying. There's one that's really beefy and red with white hair.
Mm-hmm.
He's just standing his ground, but he's like a 10.
Yeah, they both have
he's
pointy ears. The shorter one has like a white mohawk situation going on.
Yeah. And I like sort of spoilers for the future. Having recognized these characters personally, I am very confused why this show is painting them as villains.
I know why they're doing this. And I remember being a kid watching the show up until the point where it's revealed, because contextually you would understand based off of what Spencer just said, they are not villains.
Right.
I remember the reveal of them not being villains, and it works if I remember right, but we'll find out.
Okay. Because I honestly don't. I know what these characters are. I know who they represent. And I don't understand what this scene is or what it's going for. So it's very interesting that it's contrary to what my thoughts are.
Yeah. Well, at this point, it doesn't necessarily paint them as, well,
sinister. Everything about it,
sinister.
At the very least, yeah, sinister, mysterious.
Suspicious.
There's something else going on.
Yes.
The purple one that can fly goes over to Goku, says like, "Hey, Goku, I'm your biggest fan. Honestly, I would love to fight you. The honor of fighting you would be so great. Would you shake my hand, please?" And they shake hands.
There's a Japanese and English difference here, where the mysterious purple one, after shaking Goku's hand, says, "It's such an honor to meet you," in English. In Japanese, he says, "Wow, it is true. Your heart really is pure."
Ugh, that's so creepy.
It's
so fucking creepy.
I'm totally down with it. I'm totally down with it with the future.
It's interesting. Like, but this is the, oh God, this is like the what's the word? The sudden car crash. I keep wanting to say the sudden interjection of DBZ villains and magic and otherworldly beings that has not been present at all up to this point, because we're just at the fair with our family. And then suddenly we're back in the DBZ, Frieza, Cell, King Cold, like these extraterrestrial villain beings that you're like, suddenly you're like, oh my God, what? Like you're on high alert all of a sudden, because everything up to this point has just been fun and games. And then these two characters show up. It's very jarring and effective. So that all happens and they shake Goku's hand, whatever. Mysterious people figures walk off into the sunset and our characters are left wondering what the fuck is going on. Episode ends. These episodes are very weird with the way that they end because they just end. Typically with Dragon Ball Z, you get a cliffhanger, you get a narrator announcement, you get like a lead in to the next episode. And like a couple of these episodes really don't end that way. And it's weird. It's like they did the material and they were like, I guess we got to cut because there's 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to cut here. Anyway, we'll get into our last episode of the night or day, depending on
whenever you're listening to this. Yeah.
Our night. Yeah. Episode 214. The episode title is, in Japanese, it is Event Matchups Decided. Let's hurry and hold the first round. The American title is Who Will Fight Who? Which should be Who Will Fight Whom?
My episode title is The Setup is Complete.
This episode is a little bit more drawn out than I wanted it to be.
This is the weak one.
I think it still works. It is weak. No question. This episode is the weakest of the 5 that we've reviewed.
Yeah.
It seems like the show is trying something, right? Like it's building. It's setting up pieces. It's like a chess match. It's really slow and deliberate in giving you sort of inklings into what the future will hold before it totally turns the tables, pulls the carpet from underneath you, and does something entirely different. It is setting an expectation. That's what this episode is. I don't think it does it really effectively, but I think it's the first time this anime has really tried for something like this. And so I was fine.
It's a little more meticulous than the normal episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's not paced as well as a lot of the previous episodes, but I think it's because you're right. They're trying something a little different. Anyway, Piccolo starts off with saying that those two are very powerful, but they can't be trusted.
Right. Yeah. We kind of rehashed the introduction of these two weird characters.
Just a little bit.
And then totally forget about them as our Z Warrior friends head off to the draw. The draw is basically a box full of balls and you choose a number from the box. The number that you choose dictates your placement in the tournament. There are 16 competitors. They move up and up and up. And this is going to be their starting position.
My episode title was going to be Everybody Fondle Some Balls, but I decided not to.
I mean, that's perfect. It's honestly perfect. So Hercule is still bandaging himself up from the hit from Trunks.
He's swearing.
He's in his
little bastard. I'm fucking murder him.
His little hospital bed. He's just kind of chilling. Trunks and Goten, we mentioned like one sentence earlier, have decided to try to find their way into the adult tournament. They peek over this little fence, this little brick wall fence. They're like, hey, that's a guy that's in the adult tournament. Maybe we should kill him. And so they decided to jump down, karate chop the guy, knock him unconscious, steal his costume. He's got a mask and everything. They actually do the two kids on top of each other masquerading as an adult fucking joke that is in every, I don't know, everything from the beginning of time. And I didn't expect Dragon Ball Z to go here. But I'm kind of okay with it.
Yeah, I had to stop and look up where this came from the first time this happened because I'm like, there's no way it was Dragon Ball Z that came up with this. Like, no possible way. It was Snow White and the Seven Dwarves with the dwarves stacking on top of each other and getting in the coat during the little dance scene or whatever.
Okay.
And then Little Rascals did it, I guess, in whatever year that came out. I didn't memorize that year. 1937 was Snow White and Seven Dwarves, though. Remember that? Don't know why. But then Dragon Ball Z did it in 1989, 90?
90.
I don't know when this one came out. So
anyway, two kids in a trench coat pretending to be an adult is a thing.
Yeah.
Have you seen BoJack Horseman?
Yes.
John? Okay. So it's there too, and it is maybe played out in the best way that I've seen in any medium.
Yes.
Because it goes on for so long and it goes from funny to boring to funny again, like very
Vincent Adultman.
Vincent Adultman.
That's
right.
the character.
So
it's a really good. I can't talk about BoJack Horseman too much. It makes me sad.
I have a lot of respect for that show, and it does a lot of things different that just you don't get a lot of similarity in Dragon Ball Z. So I thought it was funny that there was like this one moment that was almost sort of connected.
That's true. There's the 1 degree of Dragon Ball Z right there.
So Trunks and Goten get this guy to like go fuck off into this mysterious hidden place in Japanese by saying there's a hot woman,
lady
over there,
of course,
that you can totally get with. And in American, it was there's this guy that wants to fight you for money, and the guy's like, "Oh, I want money," which is a fun little commentary on our social country situations at the time. But whatever, they knock the dude out and they take his costume. Guy's left in his underwear, and Goten lets Trunks jump on his shoulders, and they become Mighty Mask. So everybody shows up at the tournament draw except for Hercule, who declines to appear because he's still dealing with the wounds given to him by Trunks. He's a little bitch at this point. And you get to see basically the 8 Z Warriors that show up for the tournament and the 7-ish other opponents that have appeared. There's a couple, but not many, random one-off dudes that we'll get into as they appear. And then, of course, the 2 mysterious figures and 2 more weird, mysterious figures who are bald. No offense, John. With M's stamped on their forehead.
What the fuck? Now it is. It was fine until you said no.
I know. I did that on purpose. I was just funning.
Son of a bitch.
So they get to drawing.
Yeah.
And I think we can kind of fast forward through a lot of this. Every character gets to draw a ball from a box. And as these scenes progress, the tournament bracket gets filled in little by little. So somebody draws a ball, and then we don't get to hear who their opponent is until way later. There's a lot of fun stuff here, but it does drag on.
It drags on a lot. There's a moment where Krillin is praying to Kami in Japanese.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Good spot. Piccolo corrects him and says, "It's Dende now." And Krillin's like, "Oh, thanks." And then starts praying to Dende instead, which is just like...
because he doesn't want to go up against his like any of the Z Warriors, basically, because he'll probably lose. But it's a nice little moment of like introspection into this world where Kami / Dende is essentially God, and also that has been upset. The power balance has shifted recently.
Yeah. Like it adds so many questions about, do people pray to Kami normally? Like, is that just a cultural thing? It's like, oh, swear to God.
How did they learn about his identity? When Dende took over, how did they hear about that? Yeah, like there's a lot of interesting stuff there for sure. But the American dub doesn't do anything with it.
Nope.
So things happen. And I don't think that anything in particular is interesting enough to say.
Not really. Other than we get names for the mysterious figures.
We do. Everybody gets a name. Everybody
gets a name.
Interesting or not. Of the 16 opponents, we get everybody's name.
Let's just describe the new fighters, the new people, and then we'll just move on. Because the whole thing, like stuff happens, you're right, but it's like so drawn out that nothing really
It's very repetitive and slow, and I don't mind it as much as it might sound like. It's coming off of annoyance. It's a different speed for DBZ for sure, but it's not necessarily bad. It does, however, put brakes on a story that was going at a pretty good pace.
Yeah.
I think that if this would have happened earlier, or at the very least interspersed with other stuff that was going on, like during the junior tournament, for example, it would have been better.
Yeah, I agree with
that.
But
they kind of backload it at the end of this and just do a whole episode with people drawing numbers from a box, and it's not that exciting. So here's what the tournament's going to be. The first round of the tournament's going to be Krillin versus Pintar.
Now let's describe Pintar a little bit, because there's a weird thing that happens that I don't know if you noticed. You maybe did. Pintar is, holy shit, first of all, racist.
Yeah.
Like that one that I can't not say it.
Well, Pintar's not racist. Pintar is the result of a racist character manifestation.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's the stereotypical Indian voice that the 90s did.
He's the genie from Aladdin.
Yes, there we go.
But with the correct skin color.
Done.
Quote unquote.
That's what it is.
Second round is going to be Shin versus Ma Jr., which will be the purple floating man from before that met Goku and Piccolo's new name. The third match will be Videl versus Sipopovich. Sipopovich is one of the bulkier tank-like bald people with the M on the forehead.
Just veins and muscles. That is all
super gross. Super gross, pale skin. Him and his partner just not pleasant to look at. Next match is Gohan versus Kabuto. Kabuto is the tank-like pink-skinned, white-haired, mysterious figure that appeared with the floating purple one.
This is where Goku says, "Don't worry, Gohan. He's a pretty big guy, but remember, a true warrior fights with the mind." And I said, what the fuck? Because that is not something Goku should ever say.
The next one that's announced was maybe my favorite. It's Android 18 versus
Oh
Hercule.
my God. Yeah, this one's great.
I was not expecting those two to go up against each other. If the show follows through and gives us that fight, I will be so excited. I'm super jazzed. That is totally unexpected, but still going to be very entertaining.
So when Android 18 gets her ball, she picks it up and the announcer says, "Is 18 your real name?" She looks at it and she just tosses the ball at him and says, "I guess I'm number 9 now," and walks away.
She's really good.
She doesn't get enough screen time, but
so then next up we have Goku versus fucking Vegeta.
Of course.
Which as soon as this happened, I was like, there's no way the show delivers on this, right? Because it's the first round of the tournament technically, and that's like a fucking big deal. And I don't know what's going to happen. I have these vague memories from when I was a kid, but there's no fucking way in the first round of the tournament that they would show a Goku versus Vegeta fight. That's like something you build up to.
It's
in like the finals or semifinals of a tournament, right? To have it in the first round is weird.
And it's revealed so well because Vegeta walks up to grab the ball. It's really good.
And looks we did gloss over that. Goku draws the number 16 or something, 11. For minutes, we get these other pairings of tournament goers that set up their thing. And we kind of forget about Goku. Then Vegeta walks up, like you were saying. He draws the ball. It doesn't show the number. And he just gets this smirk on his face.
He is looking forward and then extends his arm out 90 degrees and just shows everyone else the number. And it does the like shattering moment. And everyone's like, "Oh, God damn, they're fighting in the first round." I think the show itself sells it as a spectacle that, wow, this is finally happening.
I agree. But as soon as it happened, I was like, on top of everything else that has happened, like the introduction of these mystery characters, I
don't know either.
I honestly don't remember what happens, but I just feel like this isn't the way that it's going to go down. After that, a tournament goer called Killa is matched up with Mighty Mask, who is the Trunks and Goten under a trench coat character.
Yes.
And then Jewel, who is a character we've never seen, versus someone else that we've never seen.
Yamu.
That I can't remember the name of.
Yeah, Yamu is the other member of the creepy, veiny
bald,
M on the forehead.
M on the forehead kind of thing. I'm so excited. The buildup of this episode and the drawing of the numbers and the creation of the tournament bracket was so effective, albeit slow, that by the end of it, when it was all put in place, I was so psyched. I want to see this tournament play out. I'm so jazzed. They go over the rules before we get started. Each battle will take place over 30 minutes. You lose if you ring out. If you're rung out, if you're knocked unconscious, the time runs out. You will be judged by judges, a panel of judges to figure out who wins. And if you kill your opponent, you will lose.
Yep.
Which I thought was interesting.
They allow that, apparently. If you unfortunately kill your competitor, they're out. Which go fucking figure. But
so that's it. We have 5 episodes that don't lead into the tournament battle. We are still waiting. And I'm still super jazzed. I'm glad that we got the junior tournament over. I thought it was really effective and good. There is a little stretching in this episode. Like, I don't want to gush like we have been in the last few episodes. It's a little long, and I think it could have been compressed to maybe 3 episodes instead of 5, but it's not that bad. It's not gross.
I will gush a little bit because I remember how bad things were in the past. This is still 8 out of 10.
It's solidly. You have like 20 episodes that are fantastic, and then you get to 5 that are subpar, but still pretty good.
Yeah.
It's hard to rate them 10 out of 10, but compared to what came before, they're still very good.
If we're comparing it, then
yeah, I still like this saga a lot.
Best one.
And again, it's because it's built up these larger than life heroes and villains and then put them into a situation where they have to be 90s sitcom parents.
Yeah.
And I think it's just very fun and unique and just entertaining as all hell.
Yeah. Still concerned about that storm. Still concerned about that storm.
That storm's a coming. And you can tell because this episode grinds to a halt, not necessarily in a bad way, when it introduces those characters that are otherworldly, different. When you see the bald dudes with the M on their foreheads, and a lot of this is due to the sound design, the music especially. You get that we're changing pace. We're switching tracks to something else. It's coming. It's on its way, but it's not quite here yet. But they're setting the stage, and I don't know what's going to happen because I can't remember. But we're going to fucking find out next time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z.
Holy shit, dude. That was the most intense one you've ever done. That was awesome. Oh my God, man. That was incredibly radical.
I didn't even know that I was going to do it until I did it.
I'm gonna come up with a new outro track specifically for that because that was so fucking awesome.
Thank you for listening to Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. He may hate the show, but he loves that you're listening. Feel free to contact us, leave some feedback, good or bad. We'll read it aloud in the podcast either way. You can email us at mail, at ehdbz.com. You can also find us on Twitter using the handle at Eric Hates DBZ, and on Instagram using the handle, I think it's Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. It's disgustingly long. You can also find us on Patreon if you really want to showcase your love for the podcast. Podcast.com. That's not right. Patreon.
What is happening?
Patreon.com/EHDBZ, where you'll find a few tiers to donate to and special rewards for each, including access to deleted scenes, commentary for the DBZ movies, reviews of the DBZ movies, and much, much more. We're working on content like that every single week. So be sure you join up and check it out. It's a lot of fun.
We also like to shout out all of our patrons. Why do I fuck that up every time? Patrons.
They're patrons, yeah.
Our patrons on the patreon.com. Those wonderful individuals are Hearst ran out of gas. Tyler. Why did you just start laughing?
Because I thought you were going to say Spencer Feuerstein first.
You know what? I intentionally juggled how these are being...
That's nice.
Oh, Hearst ran out of gas. Tyler Hyatt. Dan Shoiha Mate. Felix Rodriguez. Jeffrey Grimm. Spencer Feuerstein. I almost said Spencer motherfucking Feuerstein, which I think he'd probably enjoy, so I'm going to leave that one in. Artex, the creator. Lori. Richard Alanis. Alanis? Dude, let me know. I'm fucking that one up every time. Croy Keener. CJ Collins. And Andrew Winden. Thank you so much for helping to provide us with the ability to get new microphone stands and headphones and keep talking into microphones that are above normal quality.
I still think about getting that preamp that Eric Bale uses because, my God, his audio was just...
How much was it?
I want to say it was like $200, but let me... I mean, I can look it up. Sure.
I'm curious about the brand and all that good stuff. I want to know how we can become more professional. Because if you ever check out the music from this podcast made by me, Burn7, on soundcloud.com/Burn7, you'll hear that it's not very professional. And I want to know all about professional audio equipment.
The music for the podcast was done by the incredibly hardworking...
I just did that.
Wait, you did?
I literally I know you were staring at the screen Googling stuff and you weren't listening to me, but yeah, I literally just did that.
His preamp is like $300.
That's not bad.
I know it's not bad, but Jesus Christ. All right, if you did the music, the Patreon shout out, I think the only thing left is the pun.
It is. Yes, we've come to this point once again. So, let us go about making this thing happen.
Sally forth into the unknown.
We know this very well. I know this battlefield. It is stained in boredom and blood. Let us do so.
We had so many new characters this time. Jewel, Spopovich.
What do you call an F1 race sponsored by Mentos, the fresh maker?
I have no idea.
A tournament. Does that count?
Yes, a bad joke is just as good as a bad pun.
No, it probably doesn't.
I feel like you said something with Vidal this episode during this recording.
I might have, but I don't remember it now. So if I do, I will Vidal you about it later.
Wait, what? Tell you about it.
Yeah, see, that's not even a pun. Vidal is such a bad name for puns. How about Mighty Mask?
I mean, I like it as a concept.
That was one of the funniest things you've ever said. And I feel like the amount of laughter that I gave it wasn't like proper, but
I'm gonna need a fucking mighty flask by the time this saga is over.
Way to go. That was a real killer.
2 for 1.
Hey,
let's get out of here before they notice that it was terrible.
Cheese it. It's the fans.